And we're live. Welcome back to Corona Geek here, where we talk all about mobile app development using Corona SDK and also desktop development using Corona SDK. I'm your host, Charles McKeever, and joining me in the studio today is Ed Marina from roaminggamer.com.
Yes, hello.
Joining me in the studio.
It's perfect.
The only problem I have with that kind of terminology is that if I have donuts, you don't have donuts, right?
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah, so virtually you're in the studio, but no donuts for you.
I'll tell you what, I'll let you send me an Apple TV instead.
No donuts for me
or
either.
An iPad Pro.
Hey, no problem. No problem. We talked about the iPad Pro last week on Corona Geek After Dark number 17. We talked about the Apple Pencil. We talked about iPad Pro. What else we talk about? We always have like just a laundry list of things. It's so hard to describe.
We talked about something at the very end, and the thing is that by the time I get to the show again, my brain has evaporated. Everything from the prior week.
Yeah. No. Well, if you haven't seen them, go to youtube.com, not ComCom, just youtube.com/Corona Geek, and all the videos are there. So even the After Darks, which we haven't fully rolled into the podcast yet, but I'm thinking we definitely should, because they're 2-hour discussions, and perfect fodder for being on the treadmill or driving in your car or whatever, duck hunting, anything.
Yeah. I heard two things in there where I don't want people to be listening to the show while they're doing it. Not driving their car and not hunting, for God's sake. And please not hunting while driving your car.
Yeah.
For those of you who live in Texas.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, if it jumps in front of the vehicle, it's fair game. No. So, hey, we got some announcements today that we need to cover before we get into today's continuation of our desktop development series. Just a little, just administrative housekeeping stuff. Corona's being acquired by another company. What else? I think that's yeah. So if you haven't seen the announcements already, you can go over to coronalabs.com/blog. You can also Google Perk and probably find Perk, in Corona Labs. Put those keywords in. You can probably find the announcement over there. Where else? TechCrunch has written about it. So Corona Labs has been acquired, or is in the process as of this recording of being acquired. It's really kind of like paperwork, but it's being acquired by Perk, which is an Austin-based company who actually uses Corona and loves Corona, loves it enough to actually buy it from Fuse, and they want to build it out as the premier 2D cross-platform mobile development tool that it is, and desktop development tool that it is, and Apple TV / Android TV platform that it is, cross-platform that it is. Yeah. So yeah, what do you think about that, Ed? I'm going to stop talking for a sec.
Oh yeah, sure. Just drop the bomb on me.
Boom. And here's Ed.
It's good and bad. It's good. I say both. That's my initial reaction.
Yeah.
Let me do the negative reaction first, because that's where everybody goes first. I think people tend to be negative first. So the negative part for me is I've been around for a while now, doing game development stuff here and there. And I've seen kind of like how the ebb and flow of the game development acquisition market goes. So one of my experiences was with another company, which was, I didn't work for them, but I worked with them peripherally. Not Corona. Whoops. Sorry, make you guys the other company. No, Garage Games. So some people may be familiar with them. And I watched them go through some acquisitions. And for them, that didn't work out in the end. It sort of they got acquired a few times, and then they were gone. So that's the kind of thing that when people start to do the negative talk, they say, oh, well, they got acquired again. Oh, no, that's not a good sign. All you guys are going to get out of here. But we don't know anything right now. And then there's always the positive side, which is what you were elaborating on just a moment ago, which is if you have a company that acquires you got company A, company B, and company B acquires company A because they love them, they love what they do, then that's generally a good thing, because they're going to be pouring their energy into getting what they want out of that company. And if they're a consumer of what that company produces, then I would say that's a positive thing. So they consume what the company produces, they love what the company does, then that sounds good to me as far as keeping the company alive and moving things forward. So that's what I'm taking out of this right now. Is
Yeah,
that the company is going to be around for a while, because you don't buy something and then shut it. And typically, typically you don't buy it and then say goodbye. So that's good right there for sure, because I think some of us were a little bit worried about Corona, and it's good to see that it's going to be alive for a while. And yeah, I'm Mr. Honesty over here today, aren't I? I'm just letting my feelings out.
that's okay. I think that's good that we have an open discussion about this, because at the end of the day, people are investing their time and energy into it, and they need to know where it's headed, right? I mean, that's what all of us are focused on. And you say that these are the negative comments, but I think these are really just the honest comments, right? They're
the thoughts that go through my brain and other people's brains.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so one of the things,
the thoughts are going to go. Actually, now that I think about it, it's a little bit ridiculous to say the thoughts are going through my brain. I don't know what other part of my body they're going to go through.
Yeah, sometimes some people say, I was thinking, in my mind, and I'm like, well, what other part of your body do you think with? Okay.
Elbow yesterday, or?
Yeah. I don't, could you let me know when you're thinking out of your butt? Because, so
I'll discount any opinions that come out of that part of the area, the body.
Exactly. Yeah, and it is unsettling that Corona is changing hands. Pretty much a year. I mean, Fuse acquired Corona Labs last November, and so this is November 30th. So within a year, they're kind of changing hands to somebody else. The one thing that I can help shed some perspective on is that Perk is actually using Corona to develop apps, and they get it. They love the platform, and they're all in, right? If you could think of this as sort of a poker game, they've slid their chips across the table, and they're all in. I mean, their business is, is building apps, monetizing apps. They want Corona as that platform that everybody uses to develop apps, and so they're invested in the process, or in the product, not just invested in the money aspect of things, if that makes any sense. And I think that's a great thing, because then they're going to be eating their own dog food, right? Which is a term that implies that they use the tool, therefore they will be more in tune with the pain points, and they'll be more vested to try to fix those pain points. So I think it's a good thing for the community.
Yeah. Well, let me reiterate what you said, because I think I'd like to say it my part again a little bit better, because you elaborate, which is it's a little disquieting that it should be acquired again. That's just a fact. That's a negative sign. But the positive sign is that we're going from ownership where they're using it for advertising to ownership where they're using it to produce content based on the actual engine itself. Call it an engine, the SDK, that's a definite improvement in my mind. So as you said, eating their own dog food. That's definitely better. If the company has an investment in not only making peripheral money from Corona, but also using it to produce their own content, that's way, way better.
The other thing that they have going on for them is Perk has, roughly 150 people in the company. They've got a sizable team here in Austin, 30 to 40 people there. They've got people in Waterloo, up in Canada, sort of the administrative, financial aspect of things. And then they've got a team in Bangalore. And so one of the things that Corona Labs, itself, before Fuse, before anything else, has always sort of struggled with is just the number of resources, right? The things that get accomplished with the core team is phenomenal when you consider there's only, at any given time, 10 to 12 people, engineers working on the product. So one of the things that Perk offers is, they come with resources sort of already built in. So this is fantastic, I think.
All right, just pasting the Hangout link to our some of the folks here.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, sometimes the Hangout link just doesn't work, and I don't know, it's just crazy. So anyway, yeah, so that's going on right now. What we're going to try to do is we're going to get Raj, who is the founder of Perk. We're going to get him on the show, and we're going to talk about his insights, his plans. I met with him a couple of weeks ago in the Austin office. We sat down and talked for several hours, and all I can say is he said all the right things in all the right order. You know, all the questions that I had, he pretty much addressed right off the block without even having to ask half of them. So in terms of sort of being in sync with where Corona needs to go and what needs to happen and the pain points that have always been there, he gets it. And so we're going to get him on the show, and we're going to talk about those things and let you hear from him. So one of the things we don't want to do today is sort of speak for anybody else. You know.
Yeah, this is actually kind of a little premature. I feel like it's a little premature to talk about it too much.
Yeah, it's fresh. I mean, the announcement was went out at 8 o'clock this morning Central Time. Yeah, so it's it's 2 o'clock here, so it's only so many hours old, right? So so we want to get him on the show, and we want to hear from him. And so definitely go read the blog post over at coronalabs.com/blog. And we'll also in the show notes we'll link to everything, of course, so you can read it all for yourself. And there's some great forum posts. Roger's already posted in the forums kind of a summary of things that Perk wants to do with Corona. He's introduced himself. And if you have any questions at all, just post them in the forum, because that's where we're going to try to reply to people's questions and make sure that everybody gets the answers that they need and all that kind of stuff like that. And yes, we have been here before with Fuse, and Fuse did well to help Corona, on its journey. Right, so like I think actually Walter actually used passing the baton. Perk is picking up the baton and moving Corona to the next level. So don't think of it so much as a destination, because really this whole thing is not a destination. It's a journey, right? We all know that Apple, Android, or Google, all these different platforms, stuff changes every day. There's new technologies developed. There's new changes happening. So there's never going to be a point where it's just finished, where it's all completely done. It's really very much a journey. So I would encourage everybody to think of it that way, and we are just continuing on. The engineers, we had a very long meeting this morning where they're talking about the changes with AdMob that are coming with Google, things that Google are pushing, tvOS, all the user voice feature requests, bug fixes, all that stuff like that. So it's really just business as usual. The people in Palo Alto right now are at their desk, working on Corona just as they have always done.